Before we start our discussion onto the new topic, that is limited liability partnership, here are some instructions to students and learners. Use headphone while listening to this lecture to have a clear and undisturbed listening. Please keep a notebook, paper and pen and a calculator to solve the problems alongside the process of viewing this video and also to note certain points. Students are advised to solve different problems from reference or textbooks on this subject based on this learning process because only practice can make you perfect with the concept. In case of any queries, students can contact on WhatsApp mobile number given in this video. Let's try to understand the objectives of this discussion before we begin with the discussion on limited liability partnership. Now, the objectives are to understand what is a limited liability partnership, 2. The need for limited liability partnership establishment, 3. The characteristics of LLP and the provisions of LLP Act 2008, 4. The preparation of statement of accounts as prescribed in Part B of Form 8 of Rule 24 of the LLP Act, and the most important is to equip the students with the skill to be able to prepare the statement of accounts of an LLP. Let's now define limited liability partnership. Now, a limited liability partnership is a new corporate form of business which combines the flexibility of a partnership firm registered under the Indian Partnership Act of 1932 and the advantages of a limited liability company at a low compliance cost registered under the Companies Act of 1956, now termed as Companies Act of 2013. The LLP is governed by the Limited Liability Partnership Act of 2008, which was implemented in the year 2009. Now, to understand the concept of LLP, let's look into some of the features of an LLP drawn from its definition. Now, the first one is the LLP is an alternative form of corporate business which provides the benefit of a limited liability company but allows its partners the flexibility of organizing their internal management on the basis of mutual agreement as in case of conventional partnership firm. 2. The LLP has a perpetual succession because it continues its existence in spite of any change in the partners. 3. It's formed and incorporated under the LLP Act of 2008. 4th, LLP is a separate legal entity from its partners. 5. No partner of an LLP is liable for an independent or unauthorized actions of other partners. And lastly, the rights and duties of the partners is governed by the mutual agreement. Let's look into some of the provisions of the Act with regard to the features of an LLP. Section 3 of the Act specifies that a limited liability partnership is a body corporate which enjoys a separate legal entity status. 2. It has a perpetual succession. And 3. Any change in partners does not affect its existence, rights, liabilities, etc. Section 4 of the Act specifies that non-applicability of the Indian Partnership Act of 1932 to a firm registered under the LLP Act 2008. 3. Section 5 of the Act specifies the partners in a limited liability partnership, whereas any individual or a body corporate can be a partner of an LLP unless disqualified for being of unsound mind or declared insolvent. Section 6 of the Act specifies the minimum number of partners required to form an LLP, where every LLP should have at least 2 partners. It should not be reduced to 1 in any case. If so done and business is continued for 6 months, then the loan partner shall be liable personally for all obligations arising during those 6 months. Section 7 and 8 of the Act specifies about the designated partners. Every LLP must have at least 2 designated partners, also who are the individuals, and one of them must be a resident of India. Every designated partner should obtain DPIN, that is Designated Partner Identification Number. Now the liabilities of a designated partner as specified in the provisions of the Act are: 1. He is responsible for the doing of all acts, matters and things as are required to be done in compliance of the provisions of the Act, like filing of documents, returns, statements, etc. He is liable to penalties imposed on this partnership for any contravention of those provisions. Section 9 of the Act specifies about the changes in designated partners. An LLP may appoint a designated partner within 30 days of the vacancy arising from any reason. If no partner is designated and the information not filed with the registrar, then each partner of the LLP is deemed to be a designated partner. Section 10 of the Act specifies about the punishment for contravention of certain provisions of the Act. If an LLP fails to comply with the statutory compliances, then every partner is punishable with a fine from Rs 10,000 to Rs 5 lakhs as the case may be. Section 11 of the Act speaks about the incorporation of an LLP. Now the following steps are followed for the incorporation of an LLP, and step 1 specifies that 2 or more partners who have associated to carry lawful business and earn profits should subscribe their names to a document called the incorporation document. This document is to be filed along with the necessary prescribed fees with the registrar of the state in which the registered office of the LLP is situated. Step 2. A statement in the prescribed form made by either a CA, that's a chartered accountant, CS, that's the company secretary, or cost and management accountant, or an advocate who is engaged in the formation of the LLP, or anyone who has subscribed his name in the incorporation document, stating that all requirements of the Act have been complied with for incorporation. Now the incorporation document should contain the following particulars. First, the name of the LLP. 2. The proposed business of the LLP. 3. The address of the registered office of the LLP. 4. The name and address of the partners of the LLP. 5. The name and address of the partners to be appointed as designated partners, and any other such information concerning the proposed LLP as may be prescribed. The other important provisions of the LLP Act are: Section 55 specifies the provision for conversion of a conventional partnership firm into a limited liability partnership. 2. Section 56 specifies the process of conversion of a private limited company into an LLP. And Section 57 specifies the provisions of conversion of unlisted public company into an LLP. Now, all these provisions that we have discussed gives us a bird's eye view of the important provisions of the LLP Act 2008. Let's now look into the preparation of statement of accounts as prescribed in Part B of Form 8 of Rule 24 of the Act. Now, every LLP should prepare the statement of accounts for the relevant financial year in the prescribed form and file them with the registrar every year. Now, the accounts of the LLP should be audited as per the prescribed rules. Every LLP is expected to maintain the necessary books of accounts and prepare the following statements at the end of the financial year in the prescribed form. First one is the statement of assets and liabilities. This statement is prepared in the form of a balance sheet but in vertical format only, as on a particular date, reflecting the financial position of the partnership. 2. The statement of income and expenditure. This statement is the profit and loss account, which should also be prepared in the vertical form in the prescribed manner, showing the profit and loss for the year ending. Let's look into the format of a statement of assets and liabilities which is prepared as on a particular date by an LLP. Let's rule out the vertical format with a particulars column and two amount columns, that is the extreme right column as the total column. Now the first part of the statement comprises of contribution and liabilities. Under that, the first one is the partners fund, under which the contribution, that's the capital contributed by the partners of the LLP, is shown, and the reserves and surplus, if any, are recorded. The second is the liabilities that are recorded, under which the secured loans, unsecured loans, short-term borrowings, trade payables are recorded. Under trade payables, the creditors, that is the amount payable to the creditors, and the advance received from customers are recorded, and the total is shown in the outer column. Then the other liabilities are also recorded, and the provisions. Now provisions generally that are made for taxation purpose, provision for contingencies, or any other provisions are recorded, and the total is shown in the outer column. The sum of all these items equals to the total liabilities amount. So this constitutes the first part of the statement of assets and liabilities. The second part of the statement of assets and liabilities comprises of the assets, under which the fixed assets are shown, 2. the investments, 3. the loans and advances, 4. the inventories, that is the stock, and trade receivables, under which the amount receivable from debtors and the advance that are paid to suppliers are shown, and the total is shown in the outer column. The next item is the cash and cash equivalents, which represents the cash in hand and the cash in bank, which are shown in the outer column, and any other assets, if any, are recorded. The total of all this represents the total assets. So this is how the statement of assets and liabilities are prepared for an LLP. Now one should note over here that you may add up additional columns to the statement to show the corresponding figures of the previous year if required. Contingent liabilities, if any, not provided for should be stated if required, and any disclosures required under the LLP Act should also be made. Let's now look into the preparation of the statement of income and expenditure for the year ended. That is the format of statement of income and expenditure that's prepared by an LLP in a vertical format. Now let's rule out the statement with the two amount columns and a particulars column. Now in the first part, we show the income, which comprises of the turnover, that is the sales figure, from which any tax payable like the excise duty is deducted, and the net amount is shown in the outer column. Other incomes, if any, are shown, like for example any interest income or any other income that is earned by the LLP can be shown here, and the amount of the same is shown in the outer column. Now any increase or decrease in the closing stock is also recorded, because that increases or decreases the gross income. So the total of all these items indicates the total gross income earned by the LLP. Now the next part of the statement comprises of the expenses that are deducted from the gross income. Now all these expenses are classified under different heads. The first one is the purchases, that is the gross purchases, from which any returns are deducted and the net purchases are shown in the inner column. The second one is the personal expenses, that is the expenses incurred on the staff, like the salaries and wages, bonus and allowances, staff welfare expenses. All these expenses are recorded and shown in the inner column. The next head of expenditure is the administrative expenses, under which the rent and rates, printing and stationery, postage and telegraph or telephone charges, light charges are all shown, and the total of all that is recorded in the inner column. The fourth head is the selling expenses, under which expenses for advertisement, sales commission, carriage on sales, and the like are shown, and the total is shown in the inner column. The next head is the depreciation, where depreciation on different assets like buildings, plant and machinery, and furniture may be shown, and the total of the same is shown in the inner column. Now, any interest paid is also recorded on loans taken by the LLP, or interest paid on the deposits by the LLP are recorded, and the total is shown in the outer column. The next head of expenditure is the other expenses. So all those expenses which do not find a place in the previous heads would be recorded over here, like for example repairs and maintenance and the like, and these expenditures are shown in the inner column. Now the total of all these expenditure heads is shown in the outer column as the grand total of expenses, which is deducted from the total gross income to give us the profit before tax. Now from this, if any provisions are made for income tax, the same is deducted from this, and the net figure of profit after tax is calculated. So this is how the vertical format of a statement of income and expenditure is prepared in case of an LLP. Let's look into the preparation of a statement of accounts for an LLP with the help of an illustration. Now, from the following information furnished by a limited liability partnership, we have to prepare the statement of income and expenditure as on 31st of March 2019. Now, the following particulars are given to us. Turnover, that is the gross sales for the year, 15,60,000 rupees. Excise duty paid, 70,000. Interest income, 20,000. Opening stock as on 1st of April 2018, 2 lakh. Closing stock as on 31st of March 2019, 2,50,000. Purchases 8,20,000. Purchase returns 20,000. Salaries and wages 1,50,000. Bonus and allowances 25,000. Staff welfare expenses 15,000. Rent and rates 60,000. Printing and stationery 12,000. Postage and telephone charges 5,000. And light charges 13,000 rupees. Advertisement expenses 20,000. Sales commission 30,000. Carriage on sales 10,000. Depreciation written off on buildings 20,000. Depreciation written off on plant and machinery 20,000. Depreciation written off on furniture and fittings 10,000. And interest on loans paid 30,000. Interest on public deposits paid 10,000. Repairs and maintenance charges 30,000 rupees. And we have to make a provision for income tax of rupees 90,000 on the net income. Let's prepare the statement of income and expenditure for the year ended 31st of March 2019. Let's rule out the vertical statement with the particulars and the amount column. The first part of the statement is the income heads. So under that, the first is the turnover or sales 15,60,000 shown in the inner column. From this, the excise duty of 70,000 paid is deducted to give a net sales figure of 14,90,000 rupees. The other income comprises of interest income that is earned by the LLP during the year, that's 20,000, which is shown in the inner column as well as the outer column. There's an increase in stock because the closing stock is valued at 2,50,000 and the opening stock is 2 lakh rupees. Therefore, there's a surplus of 50,000, which we term it as increase in stock, which takes the total gross income to 15,60,000 rupees. The next part of the statement comprises of the expenses classified under different heads. So the first head is purchases, 8,20,000 in the inner column, less returns 20,000. So the net purchases shown in the inner column is 8 lakh rupees. Personal expenses comprising of salaries and wages 1,50,000, bonus and allowance 25,000 rupees, staff welfare expenses 15,000. So the total personal expenses amounting to 1,90,000. Now whenever we prepare lengthy statements, we carry forward the balances to the next page. So here the balance carried forward, the inner column total 9,90,000 and the outer column total 15,60,000, which is transferred to the next page and which is brought down in the next page. We bring down the balance here, that is balance brought forward in the inner column 9,90,000 and the outer column 15,60,000. Now the next head of expenditure is administrative expenses, under which rent and rates 60,000, printing and stationery 12,000, postage and telephone charges 5,000, light charges 13,000 are shown, taking the total to 90,000 in the inner column. The fourth head of expenses is selling expenses, under which advertisement 20,000, sales commission 30,000, carriage on sales 10,000, taking a total to 60,000 is shown in the inner column. The next head of expenditure is the depreciation, under which depreciation on buildings 20,000, on plant and machinery 20,000, on furniture 10,000. So the total depreciation amount of 50,000 is shown in the inner column. The next head of expenditure is the interest that is paid on loans 30,000 and on deposits 10,000, taking a total to 40,000. Similarly, in this particular page, we carry forward the balances of this page, that is 12,30,000 of the inner column and 15,60,000 of the outer column, to the next page. So we bring forward the balance in the inner column 12,30,000 and in the outer column 15,60,000. The next head of expenditure is other expenses, in which we have the repairs and maintenance 30,000, which is shown in the outer column, showing a grand total expenditure of 12,60,000. Now this is deducted from the total gross income to give us profit before tax, that is 3 lakh rupees. Now from this we have to make a provision for income tax as stated in the problem to the tune of 90,000 rupees, which works out to 30% of profit before tax. So the net profit after tax works out to 2,10,000 rupees. So this is how the statement of income and expenditure is prepared for an LLP. Let's take another illustration from which we shall try to prepare a statement of assets and liabilities. Now, from the following information furnished by a limited liability partnership, we have to prepare a statement of assets and liabilities as on 31st of March 2019. Now, the following particulars are given to us. Partners' contribution as on 1/4/2018, 6 lakh rupees. Surplus for the year 2018-19, that's the profit earned during the year, 2 lakh rupees. General reserve as on 1/4/2018, 1 lakh rupees. Secured loans on buildings, which is sought from the banks, 3 lakh rupees. Unsecured loans from others, 1,50,000. Trade payables, 75,000. Interest outstanding as on 31st of March 2019, 8,000 rupees. Unpaid expenses as on 31st of March, 7,000 rupees. Provision for income tax for the year ending 31st of March 2019, 60,000 rupees. Buildings as on 1/4/2018, 8 lakh rupees. Furniture and fixtures as on 1/4/2018, 2 lakh rupees. Investment in government securities, 2 lakh. Inventories, that is the closing stock, 2 lakh rupees. Trade receivables, rupees 1 lakh. Cash in hand, 5,000. Cash at bank, 60,000 rupees. We have to make a provision for doubtful debts at 5% on debts and depreciate building by 5% and furniture by 10%. Let's prepare a statement of assets and liabilities for this illustration as on 31st of March 2019. So let's rule out a statement of assets and liabilities with two amount column and one particulars column. So we begin with the contribution and liabilities as the first part of the statement, under which the partners' funds are shown, wherein the contribution as per balance sheet, that is 6 lakh rupees, is shown in the inner column, to which the surplus for the year 2 lakh rupees is added to give a total of 8 lakh rupees as the partners' funds as on 31st of March. The next head is the general reserve as per balance sheet 1 lakh rupees, and there are no additions during this particular year. The second head is the liabilities, under which secured loans, that is the bank loan taken on the buildings, works out to 3 lakh rupees, which is shown in the outer column. Unsecured loans from others amounting to 1,50,000, short-term borrowings nil, trade payables 75,000, other liabilities, under which interest outstanding 8,000 rupees, unpaid expenses 7,000 rupees. So the total of 15,000 is shown in the outer column, and the provisions that are being made during the year, that is provision for income tax 60,000. So taking the total liabilities to 15 lakh rupees. So in the first part of the statement, the contribution and the liabilities of the LLP are shown, which amounts to 15 lakh rupees. And in the next part of the statement, the assets would be shown. Now let's look into the second part of the statement, that is the assets. So under the assets, the fixed assets are shown, building 8 lakh rupees, less depreciation at 5% on book value, which works out to 40,000. So the net written down value of 7,60,000 is shown in the outer column. The next asset is the furniture, 2 lakh rupees, less depreciation at 10% on book value, 20,000. So the net amount of 1,80,000 is shown in the outer column. The second item is the investment in government securities, 2 lakh rupees. Third, loans and advances nil in this particular case. Fourth, inventories, that is the closing stock, 2 lakh rupees. Trade receivables in the inner column 1 lakh, less provision for doubtful debts at 5%, 5,000. So the net amount of 95,000 is shown in the outer column. Now generally, as per a regular practice, we find that the provision for doubtful debts is deducted from the receivables and shown in the outer column as the net amount of 95,000. But in true sense, the trade receivables should be shown as 1 lakh rupees, and the provision can be shown in the liability side also. The next is cash and cash equivalents, under which cash in hand 5,000, cash at bank 60,000, taking the total of cash and cash equivalents to 65,000. And the other assets here are nil. So the total of the assets works out to 15 lakh rupees. So here assets are equals to liabilities. So this is how a vertical statement of assets and liabilities is prepared for an LLP. Let's take up an illustration now with partners, and where we have to prepare both the statement of income and expenditure and also the statement of assets and liabilities. So let's look into the contents of this illustration 3. Ajay and Vijay are the partners in a limited liability partnership. They share the profits and losses equally. The following was their trial balance as on 31st of March 2018. Purchases 1,50,000 and sales 4 lakh rupees. Wages 20,000. Salaries 20,000. Land and building 2 lakh rupees. Furniture 20,000. Advertisement expenses 10,000 rupees. debtors 50,000 and creditors 60,000, cash in hand 20,000, drawings Ajay 20,000, Vijay 10,000, partners capital Ajay 50,000, Vijay 60,000. Now the following adjustments have to be made when we prepare the statements. So the first adjustment that is to be considered is that the closing stock on 31st of March 2018 is valued at rupees 60,000. The outstanding salaries amounted to rupees 5,000. Ajay is entitled to a salary of rupees 5,000 per month, interest on capital at 10% per annum, and a provision for doubtful debts at 5% has to be made. So we are asked to prepare a statement of assets and liabilities and income and expenditure for the year ended 31st of March 2018. Let's prepare the statement of income and expenditure for the year ended 31st of March 2018. Now let's rule out the statement with a particulars column and an amount column and an inner amount column for adjustments. So let's begin with the first item, that is the income head, under which turnover, that is sales, in this particular case is 4 lakh rupees. Now other incomes are nil in this particular problem, so the amount column has nil figure over here. Then increase in stock. Now the closing stock is 60,000 rupees whereas the opening stock is 50,000. Therefore the increase in stock is 10,000 rupees, taking the total gross income to 4,10,000 rupees. Now the second part of the statement is the expenditures, where we record the expenditures under different heads. So the first expenditure head is the purchases. So net purchases here is 1,50,000. Then the second head is the personal expenses, under which we record the salaries, in this particular case 20,000 rupees. There's an outstanding salary of 5,000 at the end of the year, so we add that outstanding salary of 5,000. So the total salary expenditure is 25,000, shown in the inner column. Wages amounts to 20,000 rupees. Now salary to partner. Now here Mr. Ajay, one of the partners of the LLP, is eligible for a salary of rupees 5,000 per month. Therefore his salary for the year amounts to 60,000 rupees, which is shown in the inner column. The third head is the administrative expenses, under which there are no expenditure, so the amount shown is nil in the inner column. The fourth is the selling expenses, which includes advertisement, that is 10,000 rupees in this case. Depreciation amount is nil because no assets are depreciated over here. Now interest on capital is allowable at 10% to Mr. Ajay, that works out to 5,000, and also to Vijay, the other partner in the LLP, on his capital, that works out to 6,000. So the total interest on capital works out to 11,000 rupees. Now other expenses, under which we show the provision for doubtful debts at 5%, which works out to 2,500, taking the total expenditures to 2,78,500 rupees. So the profit before tax here works out to 1,31,500, that is 4,10,000 minus 2,78,500, which works out to 1,31,500 rupees. Now this profit is transferred to the capital account of the partners Ajay and Vijay equally, because they share the profits and losses equally. So the profit transferred to each partner is Ajay 65,750 and Vijay is 65,750. So this is how the statement of income and expenditure for the LLP is prepared for the year ended 31st of March 2018. Let's now rule out the statement of assets and liabilities for the LLP as on 31st of March 2018. So let's rule out a vertical statement with the particulars column and the amount column. So the first part of the statement of assets and liabilities comprises of the contribution and liabilities. Now under this, the partners' funds are shown as the first item of contribution. So contribution by Ajay, the opening capital is 50,000 rupees. To this we add his share in profit for the year, that is 65,750, and salary for the year for which he is eligible at the rate of rupees 5,000 for 12 months, which worked out to 60,000, and interest on his capital, that is 5,000, taking the total capital to 1,80,750 rupees. Now he has also drawn some money from his capital account, so his drawings are deducted, so less drawings 20,000, so the net capital is shown in the inner column as 1,60,750 rupees. Similarly, the Vijay's capital is shown, the opening capital is 60,000, his share in profit is equal to that of Ajay, 65,750 rupees, interest on capital 6,000 rupees, so the total works out to 1,31,750 rupees. From this, his drawings of 10,000 is deducted, taking the net capital to 1,21,750. So the total capital of Ajay and Vijay as partners fund is shown in the outer column as 2,82,500 rupees. The next head is the liabilities. Now the liabilities are secured loans. In this case, no secured loans are taken, even no unsecured loans exist. So short-term borrowings are also nil. Now trade payables, that is the creditors, that amounts to 60,000, which is shown in the outer column. Other liabilities represent the outstanding salaries of rupees 5,000. So taking the total of the liabilities and contribution to a total amount of 3,47,500 rupees over here. So this forms the first part of the statement of assets and liabilities. The next part is the assets that are recorded in the statement. Under that, the fixed assets are recorded. So land and building, the book value is 2 lakh rupees, furniture 20,000, investments nil, loans and advances are also nil in this case. Now inventories, under which the closing stock is shown, an amount of 60,000 rupees. Trade receivables, that is the debtors in the inner column, less provision for doubtful debts at 5%, that is 2,500. The net amount of 47,500 is shown in the outer column. Cash and cash equivalents, under that cash 20,000 and bank nil. So the total amount of cash and cash equivalents works out to 20,000 rupees. And other assets are nil over here. So the total assets works out to 3,47,500. It should be noted here that the provision for doubtful debts as a convention is normally deducted from the debtors and shown as a net amount, but it can also be shown as a liability, other liabilities on the liability side, and in the asset side, the trade receivable, the total debtors value can also be shown. So this is how the statement of assets and liabilities in a vertical format is prepared for an LLP. Let's take up another illustration for the preparation of the statement of accounts for an LLP. Now the following is the trial balance of XY LLP as on 31st of March 2016. Opening stock as on 1/4/2015 is 50,000. Sales 6,15,000. Excise duty on sales 15,000. Interest from bank 7,500. Purchases 3,27,500. Purchase return 7,500. Salary 90,000 rupees. Rent and taxes 38,000. Printing and stationery 4,500. Light charges 6,000. Advertisement 5,000. Carriage on sales 2,000. Interest on loans 14,500. Partners contribution Mr. X 1,25,000. Mr. Y 1,25,000. General reserve 30,000 rupees. Mortgage loan 20,000. Unsecured loan 15,000 rupees. Trade payables 21,000. Furniture 60,000 rupees. Building 1,50,000. Investment in government security 35,000 rupees. trade receivables 40,000, cash in hand and bank 1,28,500, taking the total of the trial balance on either side at 9,66,000. The other information that's provided is 1. We have to make a provision for income tax rupees 20,000. We have to make a provision for bad and doubtful debts of rupees 5,000. Outstanding salary is rupees 1,000. We have to depreciate building by 5% and furniture by 10%. The partners share the profits and losses equally. Prepare 1. Statement of income and expenditure as on 31st of March 2016. We are also to prepare a statement of assets and liabilities as on 31st of March 2016. And here the partners' plan is to earn 50% profit on their contribution. So we have to give our valuable suggestions if they fail to reach their plan. This is a case study wherein, apart from preparing the statement of income and expenditure and the statement of assets and liabilities, we are supposed to give our valuable suggestion if they fail to reach their desired target of earning 50% profit on their contribution. Let's prepare a statement of income and expenditure for the year ended 31st of March 2016. Let's rule out the vertical statement with the particulars and the amount column. The first part of the statement comprises of the income as usual. Under that, the first head is the turnover, that is the sales, 6,15,000 rupees, less the excise duty paid, that's 15,000. So the net amount of 6 lakh rupees is shown in the outer column. The second is other income, that is interest from bank, 7,500 rupees shown in the outer column. Decrease in stock. The closing stock is nil and the opening stock is 50,000 rupees. Therefore, there is a decrease in stock which is shown as minus 50,000 in the outer column. So the total gross income is 5,57,500 rupees. The second part of the statement comprises of the expenses. So under the head purchases, gross 3,27,500 less returns 7,500, which works out to 3,20,000 rupees. The second is the personal expenses, that is expenses incurred on the staff. Salaries 90,000, add outstanding 1,000. So the total salaries expenditure is 91,000 rupees. Administrative expenses, under which rent and rates 38,000, printing and stationery 4,500, light charges 6,000. So the total works out to 48,500 rupees. So whenever we are preparing a longer statement, the balances have to be carried forward to the next page. So the balance carried forward of the inner column is 4,59,500 and the outer column is 5,57,500 rupees. We bring forward the balance, that is balance brought forward in the inner column 4,59,500 and in the outer column 5,57,500. The next head of expenses is selling expenses, under which advertisement rupees 5,000, carriage on sales rupees 2,000. So the total selling expenses works out to 7,000 shown in the inner column. The next head is depreciation. So on building at the rate of 5% on rupees 1,50,000 works out to 7,500 and depreciation on furniture is charged at 10% on rupees 60,000 which works out to 6,000. So the total depreciation is 13,500 shown in the inner column. The next head is interest on loan, which is 14,500, and under other expenses the provision for doubtful debts rupees 5,000 is shown, taking the total expenses to 4,99,500, which is shown in the outer column as 4,99,500. Now this amount is deducted from the gross income of 5,57,500 to give us a profit before tax, that is 58,000 rupees. Now from this, the provision for income tax is charged 20,000 to give us a profit after tax, that is 38,000 rupees. Now this amount is distributed among the partners in their profit sharing ratio. So the balance of profit is transferred to partners' capital. Now here Mr. X share is 50%, therefore the amount that is transferred to his capital account is 19,000, and that to Mr. Y is also 19,000. So this is how the statement of income and expenditure for the year ended 31st of March 2016 is prepared. Let's rule out the statement of assets and liabilities as on 31st of March 2016. So let's rule out the vertical statement with the particulars and the amount column. So the first part of the statement comprises of contribution and liabilities. So the first head is partners funds, under which the contribution of the partners is shown. So here in this case Mr. X, whose capital contribution is 1,25,000, to which the share in profit of the current year, that is 19,000, is added, giving a total of 1,44,000, which is shown in the inner column. Similarly, Mr. Y has contributed 1,25,000, to which the share in profit of 19,000 is added to give a total of 1,44,000, taking the total partners funds to 2,88,000, shown in the outer column. The reserves and surplus comprise of the general reserve 30,000 rupees. The other liabilities are secured loan. So we have here a mortgage loan of 20,000, which is shown in the outer column. 2. Unsecured loan amounting to rupees 15,000. Short-term borrowings are nil. Trade payables works out to 21,000 rupees. Other liabilities comprises of the outstanding salaries 1,000 rupees. Provisions made during the year, that is provision for income tax 20,000 and provision for doubtful debts 5,000, taking the total liabilities to 4 lakh rupees. So this is how the statement of assets and liabilities prepared, and this comprises the first part of the statement. The second part of the statement comprises of the assets. So under that, fixed assets. So buildings 1,50,000 in the inner column, less depreciation 7,500. So the net amount of 1,42,500 is shown in the outer column. Similarly, furniture 60,000 in the inner column, less depreciation 6,000. So the net amount of 54,000 is shown in the outer column. Investments, there's an investment in government securities to the extent of 35,000, which is shown in the outer column. Loans and advances are nil. Inventories, so closing stock in this particular problem is also nil. Trade receivable amounts to 40,000 rupees. Cash and cash equivalents, under that cash in hand and cash at bank, is to the tune of 1,28,500 rupees, taking the total to 4 lakh rupees. So this is how the statement of assets and liabilities as on a particular date is prepared and proved that the total assets are equals to the total liabilities. This problem not only requires us to prepare the statement of income and expenditure and the statement of assets and liabilities, but also to comment on the profitability of the organization and suggest ways and means to improve the same. So let's write up the comments over here. Now the first comment is, as per the requirements, the statement of income and expenditure and statement of assets and liabilities are prepared, showing the financial results. 2. The expected earnings by the partners was 50% of their capital or contribution, which works out to rupees 62,500. But the actual share of profit is rupees 19,000 each. Thus, there is a fall in the expectation of the partners. 3. The expected earnings on capital or contribution at the rate of 50% is very high expectation for any business. The present profit is 6% on sales or 15.2% on contribution. The firm has minimum expenditures when you observe the statement of income and expenditure, and the only major expenditure is salary that can be controlled in order to increase the profit by reducing the number of employees if possible. Thus, To achieve a greater profit or desired results, the firm has to improve upon its sales. That is, increase the sales by better marketing strategies. This is how one has to write the comments for a case study. Let's look into another illustration to understand the preparation of the statement of accounts for an LLP. So let's look into this illustration. Avinash and Vishnu are partners in an LLP. They share profits and losses in the ratio of 2:1. On 1st of April 2016, their capitals were rupees 5 lakh and rupees 4 lakh respectively. Following information is drawn from the books of accounts for the year ending 31st of March 2017. Purchases 5 lakh, sales 10 lakhs, opening stock 3 lakhs, wages 1 lakh, salaries 1 lakh, machinery 2 lakhs, furniture 1 lakh, printing and stationery 50,000, debtors rupees 8 lakhs, creditors rupees 6 lakhs, cash rupees 1 lakh, drawings Avinash rupees 1 lakh and Vishnu rupees 50,000. The total drawings were 1 lakh 50,000. Adjustments to be made is with regard to outstanding wages rupees 50,000. We have to depreciate machinery by 10%. We have to create a reserve for doubtful debts at 5%. We have to allow interest on capital at 8% per annum, and the closing stock is valued at rupees 3 lakhs. We are required to prepare a statement of assets and liabilities and the statement of income and expenditure under the provisions of the LLP Act for the period ending 31st of March 2017. Let's now rule out a statement of income and expenditure for Avinash and Vishnu LLP. So let's rule out the vertical statement with the particulars in the amount column. So the statement is titled as Statement of Income and Expenditure for the year ended 31st of March 2017. So the first part of the statement begins with income. So under that, the first head is turnover, sales. Now in this case it is rupees 10 lakh. Less excise duty, now normally termed as the GST, is nil. So in the outer column, we show the amount of net sales as rupees 10 lakhs. The other income is nil in this particular case, and as the opening stock is 3 lakh and the closing stock is also valued at rupees 3 lakh, there is no increase or decrease in closing stock, so it's shown as nil. So the total gross income works out to rupees 10 lakh. The next part is the expenses shown under different heads. Purchases net rupees 5 lakhs in the inner column. Personal expenses, under that wages rupees 1 lakh, add outstanding 50,000, salaries rupees 1 lakh. So the total amount of personal expenses is shown as 2,50,000 in the inner column. The next head is administrative expenses. Under that, printing and stationery rupees 50,000, selling expenses nil, depreciation on machinery at the rate of 10% on rupees 2 lakh works out to rupees 20,000. Now, as usual, when we prepare lengthier statements, the balances have to be carried forward from one page to another page. Therefore, we carry forward the balance here, balance carried forward, the inner column 8,20,000 and the outer column rupees 10 lakhs. We bring forward the balance in the inner column 8,20,000 and in the outer column rupees 10 lakh. The next head of expenditure is interest. So here interest is paid on the partner's capital balance. Therefore, Avinash capital attracts an interest of 8% on rupees 5 lakh, which works out to 40,000. And in case of Vishnu's capital, it's also at 8% on rupees 4 lakh, which works out to 32,000 rupees. Other expenses, that is provision for doubtful debt at the rate of 5% on rupees 8 lakh, works out to 40,000 rupees. So the total expenses sum up to 9,32,000, which is shown in the outer column. Now this amount is deducted from the gross income of 10 lakh rupees, giving us a profit before tax that is 68,000. Provision for income tax is nil in this particular case. Therefore, the profit after tax is 68,000, which is distributed among the partners in their profit sharing ratio, that is 2:1. Therefore, Mr. Avinash's share would be 2/3 of rupees 68,000, which works out to 45,333 rupees. And in case of Vishnu, it's 1/3 of 68,000, which works out to 22,667. So this is how the profit after tax is distributed among the partners and the statement of income and expenditure is prepared. Let's prepare the statement of assets and liabilities as on 31st of March 2017. Let's rule out the vertical statement with the particulars and the amount column and also an inner column. Now the first part of the statement comprises of the contribution and liabilities. So under that, the first head is partners funds. So the contribution of Mr. Avinash is rupees 5 lakh. That's his capital at the beginning of the period. We add his share of profit for the current year, that is 45,333 rupees. Interest on capital that he has earned is 40,000 rupees, taking the total to 5,85,333 rupees. From this, the drawings of rupees 1 lakh is deducted to give a net capital of 4,85,333 rupees. Mr. Vishnu's opening capital is rupees 4 lakh. We add his share in profit for the current year, that is 22,667 rupees. He earns an interest on capital of 32,000 rupees, which is added to this amount to give a total of 4,54,667 rupees. Less drawings, rupees 50,000, giving a net amount of 4,04,667. So the total partners fund sums up to 8,90,000 rupees, which is shown in the outer column. Reserves and surplus are nil. The other liabilities are trade payables, that is sundry creditors, rupees 6 lakh. Other liabilities under which outstanding wages of rupees 50,000 are shown in the outer column, and provisions, that is provision for doubtful debts, rupees 40,000, taking the total liabilities amount to 15,80,000 rupees. Let's look into the second part of the statement of assets and liabilities, that is the assets. Under that, the first head is fixed assets, under which machinery 2 lakh rupees is shown in the inner column, less depreciation of 20,000 rupees. So the net amount of written down value 1,80,000 is shown in the outer column. Investments are nil in this particular problem. Loans and advances are also nil. Inventories, under which the closing stock rupees 3 lakh is shown in the outer column. Trade receivables, under which sundry debtors are shown at an amount of rupees 8 lakh in the outer column. Here we are not deducting the provision for doubtful debts because it is shown in the liability side under provisions. Cash and cash equivalents, cash in hand rupees 3 lakh. Other assets nil. So the total assets amounting to rupees 15,80,000. So this is how the assets are equals to liabilities, and the statement of assets and liabilities is prepared as on 31st of March 2017 for this LLP. There are some desired outcomes of this study from the students. The first one is the student should understand the new form of business, that is LLP, and the provisions of the LLP Act 2008. 2. Students or learners should be able to prepare the statement of accounts in the format prescribed in the LLP Act, that is in the vertical format. 3. Students should be able to analyze and comment on the case studies in respect of the organization's profitability and suggest remedies for improvement. I hope that this study or discussion has helped the students to understand the new form of business, that is limited liability partnership. Thank you.